Amo is completely quiet now, and the patio of Amo's house is also completely quiet now. Amo is going to marry a woman named Lin Yao. Who can think of that? It can only be said that the emperor is false and the blessing is true. Amo's wedding was originally planned to be after the beginning of spring, but Amo's father couldn't help Amo's roar and the increasing laughter outside of the patio, so he could only spend money to buy days and rush to do it. On a strong windy day, Amo married Lin Yao back to the village with a wooden boat. All the people in the village rushed to the stone dock. The bride was extraordinary as she got off the wedding boat. Lin Yao's figure was slender, tall, and dressed all red, with a waisted coat on her upper body. She was convex and concave, and her lower body was a bright red skirt. Lin Yao looked like an upscale red goldfish, enough to make the villagers stunned. But that's not enough. Because of the strong wind, Lin Yao wore a pair of dark sunglasses and a large white mask on her face. Lin Yao's appearance went first. People sadly found that the relationship between Lin Yao and Amu is definitely the relationship between a flower and a cow dung, and the relationship between a goldfish and a toilet. Lin Yao walked leisurely through the winter's strong winds, bright red, pitch black, and snow white. Amu walked beside Lin Yao and couldn't close his mouth. His dead looking of opening mouth is really maddening. No wonder there are fewer and fewer beauties in the world, and the answer is right in front of you. They're all married home by hammers like Amu. No one could see the bride's face, but people unanimously confirmed that Lin Yao definitely has 1 to 3 fatal wounds on her face, such as a single eye, a raised nose, a cleft lip, or a scar. Otherwise, it makes no sense. The sunglasses and the mask illustrated this problem. This can also be explained by Lin Yao's story. Except for a large wooden box, Lin Yao did not have any dowry. People's attention quickly shifted from Lin Yao to the big wooden box. The big wooden box was so heavy that it almost bent Foreman's spines. Someone along the way guessed, "What's in the wooden box? It can't be gold after all." Huagou decided to reveal this mystery. Huagou went to help. When the welcoming team walked into the patio, Huagou accidentally stumbled on the threshold. With a stagger, Huagou fell to the floor with the box. The contents of the big wooden box were scattered all over the floor. The answer was finally revealed. It was full of books. The colorful press-molded covers were all Qun Yao, Xi Juan, and Xi Murong, tie by tie. Lin Yao heard the movement behind her, turned her head, and squatted beside the big wooden box. Lin Yao took off her sunglasses, undid the snow-white mask, wiped every book with the hem of the red skirt, and restacked them into the big wooden box. The lively, welcoming team fell silent immediately, and everyone witnessed the silent process. People sadly found that everything on Lin Yao's face was normal. Although Lin Yao's face can only be considered middle and inferior, the facial features are neat and there's no fatal injury. The people in the village were heartbroken. Their eyes were full of winter winds. The villagers were fully puzzled. What kind of thing is this? But the villagers finally relieved with a sigh at the wedding banquet that night. The wedding banquet was very impressive. Amu's father had raised the chickens for many years, and he smashed all the money he could spend on Amu's wedding banquet. Amu's father borrowed the school classrooms and set up 48 tables. Lin Yao and Amu kept their heads down throughout the wedding banquet, and they didn't get much attention. Later, someone suggested that the bride and groom toast the matchmaker Mei Xiang. This was certainly necessary. Everyone applauded and cheered. What made the villagers' relief with a sigh happen at this time. Amu and Lin Yao stood up. In 2 steps, Amu and Lin Yao stopped. They stood in the gaps of the noisy people, holding wine glasses. You looked at me and I looked at you. first, Amo's lips pouted 4 times. Lin Yao followed up and laughed 4 times, and then Amo's lips pouted 4 times, and then it was Lin Yao who laughed 4 times again. Both forgot about the toast. Suddenly there was no sound at the wedding banquet, and people put down their chopsticks and paid serious attention to the new couple. Lin Yao couldn't stop her expression and laughter at all, and couldn't be herself at all. Her looking like no one was around was like sleepwalking. People who were still sad in the afternoon kept staring at Lin Yao. Later, they looked away from Lin Yao's face, looked at each other, tactically and quietly relieved. However, Lin Yao was still laughing, but there was no voice. The satisfaction and happiness in her heart made her face show an irretrievably stupid and foolish look, which made the soft-hearted people feel sorrow. Amo's father was anxious and said hurriedly, "Amo, toast Sister Meixiang." Amo looked like with no soul, but reached out his hand to touch the wine glass in Lin Yao's hand. The new couple put the matchmaker aside, "You toasting me, I toasting you," and they drank it, loving each other so much. Meixiang rushed to hit the cups of Amo and Lin Yao with her glass and kept saying, "Toasted, toasted." At this time, the guests in the next classroom gathered around, blocked the door, stood in front of the window. They stared at Lin Yao silently, without saying a word. Amu's father turned around, loaded up smiles on his face, and greeted, "Everyone drink! Everyone drink happily!"